Hello. Welcome to episode 11 of What's Up Biscotte Yarns with Julie. I am Julie, filming from our store in Northvale, New Jersey, where I'm one of the 3 instructors on staff. We offer both private and group classes. Generally, every day that the store is open, we have a class going on. And our store is open from Tuesday through Saturday. In other words, we're closed on Sunday and Monday. In addition to private and group classes where they are, how do I say it? It's not led by the student per se, but those classes are more tailored to whatever the student need help with their projects or learning new skills. We also have it the other way around where we have a theme to kind of give the students an idea as to what else they could be learning to make. So it's kind of like a knit along, but with a lot of instructions thrown in. So for example, we have had in the past done a shawl class where everyone knitted the same shawl, but it was different. It was made different because everyone chose their own colorways. Another series we did was the summer top, and we are just concluding our sock series. So we have 2 coming up in August and September. So for those who are kind of local and you're interested in, learning a new skill and it works out with your schedule, we would love to have you join us. So those 2 new classes, the first one is going to be how to work DPNs, work with DPNs or double pointed needles. So inevitably, sometime in your knitting career, you're gonna encounter a time where you're gonna need to knit in a smaller circumference, such as maybe the thumb part of a mitten, maybe a sleeve for a child's sweater, or maybe even just working on the crown decreases of a hat. So on and so forth. Yes, you can use other, there are other ways to knit in a small circumference, but such as the magic loop, but why not have another skill under your belt, right? I personally prefer to work with DPNs when I'm working on the thumb, for example, because I find using the magic loop to pull the stitches or the cords like, to and fro, back and forth for every half a round is kind of annoying for me. So for that, I would just use DPNs. Although I'm not like a huge fan of using DPNs in general speak. I prefer to use shorties like the 9-inch circulars when I do socks most of the time. Like I said, there's a time and place for DPNs. Long story short, we're gonna have a class sometime in August, a 2-hour class where we're gonna learn how to use DPNs. We're gonna talk a little bit about it. And as part of the project in that class, we are going to learn, we're going to knit a cup sleeve. That is actually one of my own original patterns that is available as a free download on my Ravelry page. So we will at least be able to get started on knitting this cup cozy. Yes, cup cozy. And part of the pattern is also a mock cable. So in addition to learning DPNs, if you don't know how to do it already, we will also cover the very basic of knitting cables without the need of a cable needle, but more in depth during the class. So that's number 1, and that's just a 1 class, one-off. And then the other one will be knitting a pair of fingerless mittens, the May mittens. I'm trying to stealthily put it on as I'm talking, but my ring got caught in it. I mentioned this in my last episode. This is the May mittens. It is, again, one of my own original design. I'll come closer to the camera. So it's a simple lace work. For this pattern, so it's definitely beginner friendly, or I should say like maybe in advanced beginner, let's put it that way. So in this class, it's going to be a series of 3 over the span of 4 weeks. So we're going to meet week 1, week 2, skip week 3, and then week 4. We're skipping week 3 because that will buy you a little bit more time to work up the stuff that you will already know how to do from the previous 2 classes, just in case life gets a little bit hectic and you didn't have enough time to get up to the part where we're gonna be for the final class. So all that information will be in the description box below, so if you want to like take a peek now, you could. And it will also be the information will also be in our the Facebook group, the Biscotte Yarns Northvale Facebook group. There we go. So you can get the details as to exactly when, the weeks, the days, the time, the cost, the materials necessary, the whole 9 yards. And when you are ready, go ahead, you know, whether it is for those classes I just specified, or if you wanted to schedule a private or a group class, contact our store manager, Amanda. You could reach her by phone or by email, and she will be able to best match you with the teacher that will best suit your needs. First off, let's talk about the cardigan that I am wearing. It is called the Rehoboth Cardigan, designed by Donna Eston. The yarn she used is from our DK Pure. It is our DK Pure yarn. And the 3 very fun colors that she chose is Rose Neon, Sorbet, and Nature. Well, this is not fun, but this is a good tamer to kind of break up the craziness of these 2 really fun colors, as you can see on me. DK Pure is made of 90% superwash merino wool and 10% silk. The needle you will use, or the needle that was used to knit this, is US size 5 or 3.75 millimeter, and the gauge necessary is 5 3/4 stitches to 1 inch. You will need 2 needle sizes, by the way, one the main one, and then one size smaller to work the ribbings. The pattern is pretty size inclusive because it is available in 7 sizes, ranging from 36 on the smallest one to 60 inches on the largest one. And the designer had intended for this piece to be worn with 2 inches of positive ease. And this is kind of what it looks like on me. So it drapes really comfortably, like in terms of the sizing. But if you are caught in a little bit of a chill and you need to bundle up, you could easily do that. There's plenty of fabric for you to do that, even though like this doesn't look like super baggy and messy, right? It looks really clean and tailored, but at the same time, you could still do that. There are no button bands, as you can see, so you don't have to deal with that. The piece is constructed, let me sit down. The piece is constructed first with one shoulder, one back shoulder, and then when you're done with that little bit, you cut the yarn, and then you do the other shoulder. And then when you're done with that, you do not cut the yarn. You continue on, cast on X number of stitches for the back of your neck, and then you connect the shoulder that you had just done. So now you have shoulder, neck, shoulder, all in one piece. Like here's your back. And then you will continue working it, growing it both lengthwise and widthwise so that you're keep on increasing so that you can come around here to the front side and then continuing on, knitting flat. So you don't have, it's not like you do the back piece and then you do the front piece and then you piece it together. No, it's done in one piece, back and forth. And then when you get to the armhole, per usual, you separate it, you keep the stitches for the sleeve on hold to be worked on later, and then you continue to grow the length of your cardigan. And then let me come to the camera again. The hem of the cardigan, as well as the cuff of the sleeve, is done the same way. This is not just, you know, plain old ribbing. This is the corrugated rib. So you would use 2 different colors per row, and it comes out this way. And then she had actually also added a sorbet in the middle of it to kind of add some more fun and funkiness to it. However, this band is knitted with the more neutral color, the nature, and that's just ribbing. So you have something fun, you have something funky, and you have something classic and simple in the construction of this cardigan. I am now wearing a cowl called the Kindred Cowl, designed by Jill Temanim. The construction of this cowl is basically just a small rectangle. If you were to grow the rectangle a little bit longer, and then you could turn it into a poncho, kind of like this piece that I'm going to talk about next. More on that in a bit. So for this, it's a good beginner, advanced beginners project, because the stitches involved are just knits and purls, but it's a good project to introduce colorways. There are 3 colors involved, used in this cowl, but at any given time, you will only be working with 2 colors or 2 strands of yarn, not held together, but one after the other. So for that reason, and also because it's basically just a rectangle with no shaping that you have to worry about, that it will be a good project for you to dive in to doing color work. And then the edge of it, so basically you would do that, you would do your rectangle, and then when you get to the end of it, you would take one edge and then another on the side, and then you would sew it together so that it creates the hole. I can show you that my head just came out of. So there it is. So like that. So like I was saying, if this was a bigger rectangle and wider, then this could easily be like a poncho. Wait, it would be like a poncho. Okay, so now you see that there are some fun fringes here. You would need to cut out X number of strands of the yarn, and then you would just loop them through the holes, the stitches at the edge there when you are done with the piece. Speaking of the edges, I wanted to show you how for this piece, Jill had instructed for you to use I-cord edging. So basically what that is, to do the I-cord edging, it's not, there is the I-cord bind off, but you're not binding off in creating the edging. It's just part of your length, your 2 sides. So what you do is you knit to the last 2 stitches, and then you would slip those 2 stitches, and then you would turn your work. Now that means your working yarn is going to be two stitches from the end, because you slipped the last 2, you didn't work them, right? So now you're on the wrong side now, and then you're just gonna work them regular. So by doing that, you're kind of like, you know, wrapping those 2 stitches and creating that neat little cord-like thing, edge. So that's very easy to do, and it creates such a neat, professional, tidy edges. That's really nice. So let me put this back on, and I can tell you about the yarns and stuff like that. The yarn used for this was, here it is, it's granola from the Louise Robert collection. Here they are. So this cowl is knitted with these 3 colors, and we have, let me see if I remember. No, I don't. So this is called, this rose color, dusty rose color is called Epic. This one is called Van Gogh, and this one is called Air du Temps. So these 3 guys in combination creates this piece. We have a kit, several kits available for this cowl, obviously in this colorway, and then we also have a couple of other options in different colorways. So you might want to check those out. And per usual, whenever we make a kit available for you, the pattern of that project comes free. So in essence, you're only, when you select the instead of buying the yarn separately, if you choose to buy the kit, the 3 skeins of the colorways that's chosen for you, the pattern is thrown in for free. So you save a few bucks there, which is always nice. Okay, let's talk gauge. So this piece was knitted with US 5 or 3.75 millimeter needles, and the gauge is 7.5 stitches to an inch. But you would be not in stockinette. So when you do your swatch piece, if you're going to do a swatch piece, it would be over the color work. So in case you're not familiar with knitting and color work, the gauge is going to be very different than if you were working on just, you know, 1 strand stockinette. Even though both stitches, like if you were to make a swatch using just a stockinette stitch, let's say for example, when you do your color work, because of the strands that the floats that you hold in the back, it's going to shrink your piece because it's going to be a little bit more constricted. You're not going to have that super stretchability as regular knitting, again because of the horizontal yarn that is being carried through from the back. So it would be very wise whenever you're working with color work, whether it's this piece or another piece, to not be lazy and actually do a swatch. And this is speaking from experience. Okay, getting back, so the finished size of this cowl is 34 inches in length and the width is 10 inches. And like I was saying earlier, if you were to make this more than 10 inches wide and make it longer than 34 inches long, it could very well potentially turn out to be a poncho in terms of how it is constructed. I feel like I'm working a fashion show filming this episode because I keep changing or putting on new things to show you and to talk about. So what I have on now is the Zulia Poncho designed by Tanya Lyons. Sorry, I drew a blank there for a second. Tanya Lyons is the designer. Similar to the Kindred Cowl that we just talked about, I feel like this piece is also a really good piece for an advanced beginner or someone who is, you know, want to graduate from knitting a scarf and they want to venture into something else, because true to most poncho design, you basically just knit a big rectangle and then you sew one side and another together to create the neck hole, right? So the construction part of it is pretty simple. You don't have to worry about shaping and stuff like that. But what also makes this beginner friendly is because if you are also new to knitting lace, this would be ideal, because the lace repeat of this is very easy to memorize, to do and to memorize. And the stitches you need to know besides the knit and the purl are 2 decreases and an increase, and specifically knit 2 together and SSK, and the increase would be just the yarn over. So all in all, it's pretty accessible, I think. And then you have plenty of length to practice, you know, working on getting into the groove, the rhythm of the pattern repeats for future more complicated projects. So in speaking of the size of this poncho, the length of it is 56 inches and the width of it is 30 inches. No, I lied. The length of it is 58 inches and the width of it is 18 inches. 58 and 18 inches. The yarn that was used, Tanya had chosen to knit this baby up with something from the Louise Robert design collection. This is her merino worsted, which is a worsted weight merino yarn that is 100% superwash merino. And the gauge of this poncho, if you decide to work out your gauge, is 5 3/4 stitches to 1 inch in the eyelet ribbing eyelet pattern using US 7 or 4.5 millimeter needles. Notice how I haven't changed from the last pattern that I talked about. I am not going to put it on and shove my foot to the camera to show you what it is. So that is a very obvious clue that the next and final pattern that we're going to talk about is a sock pattern, and it is the Cobar Sock. Turn it so you can see, get all angles of the pepper of the design. So this is the Cobar Sock, and there's a story behind it. A little bit of fun fact, one of our owners, Patrick, is also an owner of his hot sauce company called Sauces Cobar. And Patrick is quite impressive. So he entered into a hot sauce contest back in 2021. It's called the Fury Food Challenge in Texas, of all places. And our man, Patrick, beat out all the Texans, all the Southerners, for which barbecue and hot sauce are very famous. And he placed first with his hot sauce. So I don't know if, like, what the timeline is. Louise was the person who designed this sock. Was it, you know, oh, you know, congratulations, Patrick, I'm going to design this sock, you know, to congratulate you, to commemorate your winning, or if it was something else, I don't know. But if that was true, that would be like super cool. Maybe I should have done my homework and asked them before I filmed this episode, but anyway. So here is the sock, and let's talk about it. The construction. It is knitted from the cuff down. Here it is. You see how on the top part there are black and red stripes. So that is the self-striping yarn as it comes back at the foot, as you see. So you don't have to change color, it's just built in. So when you get to the part where you would start working on the pepper, you would use the intarsia in the round. So you would knit this at the same time as you knit the background. So it would be 2 or 3 different yarns. So the green is 1 yarn color, the red is 1 yarn color, and then the background is 1 yarn color. You would work all the leg, and then you would do the heel, and this time it's not the heel flap, is the short row. And then once the short row heel is done, and then you would just go back to the self-striping yarn to finish the foot part, toe decrease, Kitchener stitch to close up the toe. And for this sock pattern, you do not rinse and repeat like most other sock pattern, because if you do, then you are going to have 2 socks with the pepper this way. So it's like 2 right foot or 2 left foot, right? So, I mean, if you wanted to work the other sock, you know, with this, but placed this way, then you just have to mirror it. You have to figure out, you know, with the chart, how to do that, because Louise Robert, the designer of this sock, did not intend for you to wear or walk around with like 2 hot peppers. The other sock is simply knitted with the self-striping yarn. So one with a pepper design, and the other one just a black and red stripe for contrast. So here you can buy the pattern independently, or you could get it as a kit, which I think is the best way to go, because I will come closer to the camera to show you. So here's the package in an organza bag with the pattern printed out for you. And then here's the reason why. You will have your full skein of the self-striping yarn and that background color, but you will have just enough yarn to knit the pepper design. So unless you already have, you know, scrap yarn, leftover yarn from previous objects in these colorways or similar colorways, then get the kit, because you have everything that you need here. And you don't have to stress out about, you know, buying a whole skein of just using that little bit, like, you know, 2-3 grams or whatever it is. So here's kit number 1, because there is a kit number 2. The kit number 2 is not with a different colorway, but you're gonna get this, all the yarns, the pattern, and a bottle of the hot sauce. So you can, you know, test it out for yourself to see if Patrick is really, you know, like how good his hot sauce is. And then maybe you can write in and tell us, you know, what you think of it and what you paired it with. It will be interesting to hear your side of the story, with your experience of the whole sock making experience paired with his hot sauce. It is almost time for me to say goodbye to you, but before I do that, if you haven't done so already, please take a quick second and subscribe to our channel and give it a thumbs up if you have enjoyed today's content. If you are going to be working with one of our yarns or working one of our patterns and you're going to put it up on your social media, please don't forget to hashtag us Biscotte Yarns, because we truly do want to follow you in your creative journey. Until next time, happy crafting.